Honey, don't scratch him.
He even infected you. Look at the bugs.
Most commonly spread through infected rodent saliva, urine and feces.
It's easy for things to get infected on a farm.
Back home and live rent-free instead of that roach-infected place you're living in.
ɪnˈfekt, got infected.
We inject the infected virus into my system.
What do you want?
One of your group is infected.
Besides, you'll infect her with your filthy hands.
He's so bad, the camp doctor had to cut it out. He doesn't.
Honey, don't scratch him. You're gonna infect him. Just let me put this on.
Okay.
It's we the workers who pay the bill. That's what we're for.
He even infected you. Look at the bugs. Olmo gave the lice to everyone.
Just 1 week into his solo trek, most commonly spread through infected rodent saliva, urine and feces, which become airborne particles. Several law...
It's easy for things to get infected on a farm. Start falling off.
That's 3 bills a month. I need good suits, $400 a pop. So come back home and live rent-free instead of that roach-infected place you're living in. $50,000. Jesus Christ, the whole world's off its...
Sure I do, Mr. Button. What happened to you? ɪnˈfekt, got infected, son. Welcome home, my friend.
It's consciousness.
Absolutely not.
We inject the infected virus into my system, and then I go back and let him upload me. There's a...
But first you must do something for me.
What do you want?
One of your group is infected. I require her life for the code.
Quickly, fetch a doctor.
Yes, sir.
Step aside. You'll infect her with your filthy hands. What did you expect? That you could climb to her...
First time I shoved one up my gut, it infected me so bad, the camp doctor had to cut it out. He doesn't have any ether. So he knocks me out with...
Oh, no! Jesus!
You're infecting my mind.
I was trying to save you.
You betrayed me. But you can make...
That's what it is. Infects every person you know. But not my boys.
Mech that takes him out. And the mech was infected by Ebola 1337.
Machines hacking machines.
Let me get the first aid kit. Clean that out. It's going to get infected.
No.
I had an ear infection. $10, please. I says, hell, I told you my ear was infected. Why don't you give me $10? Well, that led to an argument.
She was food for him. Finally, he got, I suspect, infected jaw. He was abandoned.
2 healthy calves and a couple of horses from outside. Infect them artificially and then just wait and see what happens.
I'll tell you what'll happen. They turn up sick, you kill them. That's right, isn't it, mister?
You know, he ought to go to a doctor.
Look, he's been hurt worse than this.
That could get infected. Don't touch it.
Relax, all right?
Might be what?
The wound, he needs antibiotics before it's infected. Maybe they can glue it together. He needs a vet.
Lightnings dart your blinding flames into her scornful eyes. Infect her beauty, you fen-sucked fogs, drawn by the powerful sun to fall and blister.
Oh, the blessed God.
But if someone ruptures it before we get there, 95% of the Earth's population will be infected in 4 to 7 days.
Necessary shots, Conrad, because we know what they do.
They make infected pockets full of bile, sir.
That's right, that's what they do.
Nice and crunchy.
Not that one. He's infected.
You what?
Yeah, he's got worm. What? He infected you with life?
It's a good word as any.
Mr. Ewing doesn't want you around him. You probably infected him to begin with. He begged me, and I quote, keep that dirty dick.
You stink. Every time I do, I fear that I've somehow been infected by it. It's repulsive. Isn't it?
Kind of thing. I need a clear definition.
An organism. Open the hatch.
Wait a minute. If we let it in, the ship could be infected. You know the quarantine procedure. 24 hours.
Do you know how that man fought his battles? He gave his scouts the infected sheets from a hospital in Quebec. The Iroquois bought them, and
telephone cables oozing to the ears of all these poor, sane people, infecting them. Wackos everywhere, plague of madness.
Come on, let's go.
You wanted to know what I think. This is what I think.
You are all going to infect each other.
It was trying to develop a new type of infiltration unit. By infecting human subjects with machine-faced matter, it restructures and rebuilds human tissue on a cellular level.
He'd broken his leg horribly in the fall. We tried to set it best we could, but the leg became infected. The cook said that we had to do something, or he'd...
Follow. He may dress like a crow, but he once infected himself with scarlet fever, the better to study the disease.
We now pay for that isolation. You have brought hate and anger into the vortex to infect us all.
Yes, you recognize it, yeah! You are still infected with a little decent human feelings. Shut up! And you hate that in yourself!
Wound's infected. We need to sterilize it. Wait.
Pregnant, infected with AIDS, totally strung out. She was truly one of...
He says the mine is poisonous. Our clothes were infected.
To stem any future contagion. The decision to temporarily quarantine all those infected is not taken without careful consideration.
Might be seen as a virus infecting the perfect organism of death.
That's enough, Doctor.
Consumption. Blankets are infected. It spreads through the villages.
Chief, this leg wound of his is becoming more infected. Mr. Murray's got blood poisoning.
Challenges you already.
If Goldan can infect one as innocent as you, what chance do the rest of us have?
It's gonna get infected.
No, it won't.
Yes, it's gonna get infected.
No, it won't. When it's ready.
The
shepherd has done his duty, and the infected sheep must now be consigned to the purifying flames.
You may find Brother Amicio.
They worship the legend of the changing. If they could, I'm sure they'd infect themselves. We need to keep moving.
You can choose between a gym full of those not infected out behind the bus station, or you can come home with me.
The communists infect my mind with words that just keep repeating. The Jews are helping them too.